And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the interview with Zack Bayrouty. I hope you guys enjoy it. The audio is a bit choppy due to some Wi-Fi issues in Salt Lake City at the time of the interview. But thank you guys for watching. Go subscribe, please, and follow Zack Bayrouty on all of his socials. They will be in the description. Thank you. Why did you want to, and how did you become a sports broadcaster?
Well, I kind of fell into it by accident. I actually went to journalism school, and I wanted to be a writer, a sports writer. And I did an internship in West Palm Beach, Florida, where I met someone who became a good friend of mine. That was a broadcaster at the time for the Daytona Cubs, and he had me on with him for a couple of games, and I guess saw something in me. I was still a student at the time, so he asked me if I would to move to Stockton, California after I graduated. And so I did. I went back to school, finished my last semester at Northeastern in Boston, and I went to Stockton and kind of fell into a new career. So it all happened for me by accident.
All right. Cool. Northeastern?
Yeah, it's a school in Boston. So I wanted to stay close to home for college, and I really like Northeastern because they had a co-op program. So, that allows you to do internships and you're basically out of class for half the year and in class for half the year, but you get a lot of good practical experience. So it was a school that fit for me, and really the best option for me at the time. And it turned out to be a very good thing in my life.
All right. Yeah, my mom, she went to school. She got her master's at Lesley University in Boston.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know Leslie real well.
She's always been a big fan of BU, BC, and Northeastern.
Nice. Yeah, I forget BU and BC, man. Those are the rivals. All about the Huskies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to go to, the other north type of school, Northwestern. I want to go there.
Nice. For journalism, that doesn't get much better than that. It's pretty prestigious.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing like sports communication and journalism. I want to eventually do what you're doing right now for play-by-play. But
sure.
Leonard Perry was he had his first year last year as the coach at Pacific. And what do you think about his first year?
It was it was definitely a transition year. Damon Stoudemire, who was our head coach, left kind of late in that offseason to go take that job with the Celtics, when Ime Udoka got that job. So, I think Leonard was the natural choice. He was the associate head coach. And, it's always tough to kind of shift gears midway through the summer like that. So, I think Leonard did about as well as he could. He was needing to hire some staff members too. Other staff members left. So really the staff didn't start working together until September of last offseason. So, I think they set the foundation last year, and it's going to be really interesting and exciting to see where it goes for Pacific this year.
All right. So yeah, it was the rough transitioning year, but the West Coast Conference was incredible this year. They had USF, St. Mary's, BYU, Gonzaga, and then Santa Clara. They were doing great. So it was a tough year for conference play. But do you think he'll bounce back now that he has had time to recruit?
Absolutely. And for anybody coming into that league, it's a big adjustment for the student athletes, especially because you're playing some of the top teams in the country. And even the teams that aren't in that upper tier in the conference are still really, really good. So it's a very, very deep league. So, I think they'll bounce back this year. And I think they have some great pieces coming into this year. I still haven't seen them all together, because I'm in baseball season right now. But they're just starting to get practices going. So I think once there's some cohesion, I think it's going to be a good year for Pacific basketball.
Alfonso Anderson and Jeremiah Bailey were the leaders, points, rebounds, assists for the Tigers last year. How do you think the Tigers will do this year without them?
I think they'll be okay. Again, they've recruited some new pieces, and I haven't seen them yet, so I can't really speak to the new pieces on the team. But look, that's the name of the game with college basketball is you have upperclassmen that are going to move on. They're going to graduate. So, I think that no matter what happens, you're forced to adjust, right? I mean, you're forced to move on and get that next crop of players to figure out how to play well together, and obviously Alfonso and Jeremiah were big pieces of the puzzle last year. But I have no doubt that the new pieces are going to come in and probably be just as effective, if not this year, for sure, in the next couple of years as they get older.
Now moving on to the Reno Aces. They find themselves second in the PCL West behind Vegas through 68 games. They're close to halfway through the season. What can they do to take first place before the playoffs?
It's tough to answer that because you never know what pieces are going to be here from a day in, day out basis. We're at a level where you'll have guys that are called up to the big leagues. You'll have guys that come up from AA, and you'll have guys that get injured, and you're going to have to move some pieces around. So, I think the nucleus of this Aces team is outstanding. There's some amazing pitching prospects coming up through the Diamondbacks system, and the Aces have benefited from that this year. And also some really great hitters. I mean, we had the likes of Alec Thomas and Buddy Kennedy with us this year, and those two guys are making an impact in the big leagues right now. But obviously we lost those guys because the big league team called them up. So, you just hope that there's enough talent, at the lower levels of the minors that can rise up and fill those slots. And right now in AA, I think there are a lot of talented pieces. And I think, as we move on, we'll see if those guys are ready to come up and ready for the AAA challenge.
Yeah, I believe their number one prospect is currently in AA, Corbin Carroll, the outfielder.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that was actually one of my next questions. They have a very prospect-filled lineup, a ton of prospects throughout the top 30 for the Diamondbacks, to name a few: Ryan Nelson, Dre Jameson, Seth Beer, Tommy Henry. And then, you're seeing guys like Stone Garrett, who are not listed there, but he has had an incredible season. Do you think that come September, you guys are going to be vulnerable for September call-ups?
It's tough to say, and that's really not the way to look at it. If you work at this level, I think you're always rooting for those guys to get called up. And yeah, I guess, if you want to use the term vulnerable, then yeah. But for me, I always root to see those guys get their shot. They're here to ultimately fulfill their dream, which is to play in the big leagues. So, yeah, I think they are maybe, on people's radar to get called up. But for as long as they're here, I think they're going to keep producing. All those guys have gotten much better as the season has gone on. I don't want to say better because they're already amazing, but they've grown. They've developed a lot. So, I think that as long as those guys continue to develop the way that they are right now, yeah, I think there's a shot to get called up in September.
Yeah, they're great. And, you always love seeing rookies getting called up and, their first big hits. For instance, Austin Wynns, who's currently the catcher for the Giants, he got called up and nobody knew his name. Now people are cheering his name because he's just hit constant just home runs. Guy on the Diamondbacks, Christian Walker, not many people knew his name before 2018, gets called up, hits a walk-off against the Giants, and everyone freaks out.
Yeah, that's the way it happens. You get your opportunity, and hopefully you seize it, and you have a big moment up there. That's what all these guys are hoping for at some point.
In their next, I believe in their next homestand, Reno will face the Sacramento River Cats, who have been the best in the division over the last 10 games and have great players like Elliot Ramos, Joey Bart, Jason Vossler, and Raynel Espinal. What do you think the Aces need to do to beat them?
I think you just keep it steady, right? You have the pieces, like I said, moving in and out, and you just kind of have to keep getting your work in every day. And quite frankly, I think the Aces had some pretty good success against the Giants and against the River Cats the last time that locked up. So, I think just staying the course and these guys, again, continuing to grow and develop. And, I think these guys are all primed to have big series at some point. And from an Aces perspective, you'd hope that maybe one of those series can be against a division rival like Sacramento, so you can perform well in your own division. And right now Vegas is in first place, and I know the Aces are looking to gain ground on them.
Arizona has the 2nd and 34th picks in the draft upcoming, which is, the first round picks. But they can select some great talent like outfielders Elijah Green or Drew Jones, and pitchers like Connor Jerpy and Justin Campbell. Who should they select? What positions?
I can't speak for the organization really, because I don't have my pulse on what's going on at the lower levels of the organization, but I know that from where I'm sitting here, they have some amazing pitching prospects. Like, they're loaded with pitching prospects, but they're also loaded with outfield prospects. And I think a problem for the D-backs at the big league level this year obviously has been run production. So I think they'd probably tend to look at the offense and see who the best offensive player is in the draft. But you never know, because if there's a can't miss pitching prospect, teams don't like to pass those up, because at the end of the day, I think, ace pitching wins championships. And if there's an ace pitcher to be had, even if you're stacked at this level, there's no reason not to go after an arm.
Yeah, they could also go after guys like Brooks Lee out of Cal Poly and Jackson Holiday. There's some great middle infielders at 3, 4, and 5. Tamar Johnson. Great, some great prospects there.
But, yeah, I would hope that they snag, one of those can't miss guys, because that's what you always look forward to, is you have a prospect like a Mike Trout, for instance, watching him come up through the Cal League, over 10 years ago now. He was a can't miss guy, and he didn't miss. And obviously he's gone on to become the best player in baseball. So if you have a guy in your crosshairs that you think can be like that, no matter where you are on the board, I think you got to take him.
What advice do you have for me and my viewers as far as broadcasting goes, and, sometimes career advice or life advice, whatever advice you have?
My advice would be to be where you are and learn as best you can in the place where you are. I think the way things have changed is a lot of folks think that they have to make their name through social media, and Twitter hits and wherever else. But really, it's the substance that's going to get you somewhere. And the substance of your work only comes with absorbing what you have to learn wherever you are. If you're in Stockton, like I was for 14 years, that was an amazing experience for me, where I learned a ton. I would say that I learned everything I need to know, but I can't say that, because I'm still learning every day. I think if you feel like you've learned it all or know it all, then you're not going to go far in this business. You have to be open to learning every day and taking in those experiences every day, and continue to work hard and not make it about yourself. I know a lot of broadcasters that are coming up right now, because maybe the social media age we're in, they think it's about self-promotion, and really the best broadcasts, me, are the ones where the broadcaster is in the background and not at the forefront. So I would say, keep grinding, and let there be a lot of substance your work, and don't ever worry about learn wherever you are.
All right. Thank you for the interview, Zach.
You got it, Hugo.
I look forward to seeing you either at a River Cats game, if you're doing the Aces broadcasting, or at a Pacific game.
Likewise, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the interview with Zack Bayrouty. If you did, please like and subscribe, and please follow Zach on all of his social media. I will have that in the description. Thank you, Zach, for joining me. Now, I hope you guys did enjoy it, and if you did, have a great day. Adios.